My name is Elizabeth with Pop of Color Balloon Design, and if you are interested in learning how to do this beautiful balloon backdrop, then stick around. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I have not been on YouTube for a hot minute, but I feel like this is a really good way for me to get back here on YouTube. I am going to be sharing with you a balloon tutorial for how to make a full, grand, large-scale photo backdrop. So we are going to be using a lot of different elements. I'm going to be using either 3 or 4 different balloon colors. I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided what the color palette is just yet, but you will help me do that. I have a neon sign that I'm going to be throwing up probably. I'm going to be adding florals and greenery, and then kind of the piece that is the most important, the big piece here that I'm gonna be using. I'm gonna be using a gold shimmer wall from my friends over at UBACKDROP. So if you're not familiar with UBACKDROP, they are a fantastic place if you are in the market for a shimmer wall. I actually purchased a silver shimmer wall from them probably about 8 months ago and loved it. I'm gonna show you how I put it together because it's really easy. It's a lot easier than some of the other shimmer walls on the market. And then they reached out to me a couple of weeks ago and asked if I would be interested in collaborating with them to do a tutorial for you using their gold shimmer wall. So I'm really excited to show you what all of that looks like and make something really pretty. So let's go ahead and dive into what we've got for the backdrop. Okay, so I'm gonna be working with a 6 by 6, so 6 foot by 6 foot, 6 foot by 6 foot gold shimmer wall. And this is what one of the pieces look like of their gold shimmer walls. So to make a 6 foot by 6 foot backdrop, you're gonna need 36 of these. So you can buy them on their website in like packs. You just have to make sure that you get 36 of them if you want to do the same size that I'm doing today. So 6 foot by 6 foot. Look at how absolutely gorgeous that shimmer is. Oh, I'm so excited. So up close, they're all little square, whatever these are called, sequins, I guess. But the reason that I like their backdrops so much is because most of the time with a lot of other shimmer walls or sequin walls on the market, you have to zip tie all of these pieces together in order to make one big wall. But the ones from UBACKDROP, they have these, if you can see, they've got these little holes here, and the other pieces have pegs. So you can see a peg here and a hole here, and you just snap them together. So it makes it really, really easy to put all of this together and not be a huge headache. So I am going to start by putting all of these together to make my backdrop. I like to put the whole thing together before I get it on my pipe and drape, which is what the other piece that you'll need if you want to have this freestanding and not attached to a wall. I'm going to use my pipe and drape, but I'm going to put all of these together first. It just makes it a little bit easier than trying to put it together when it's hanging. So I'm going to do that, and I will show you how I go through all of that. Okay, so I'm just going to put my piece face down on the ground. And I'm gonna get my next piece, and I'm basically just going to align them together with the hole or the peg. So put this one down here, and I'm gonna just snap that in place there. Snap that one in place. And now these are together. It's that simple. It makes it so easy. So now we've got 2 pieces together. That took, what, 10 seconds to put those together? So I'm just gonna keep doing this in columns, 6 of these together at a time, all the way down, and then I will put all of the columns together, and then we'll get started with the balloons. Okay, that took me 10 minutes to put all of those together, which I feel like is super fast. I did all of the columns separately, and then I put 2 columns together, so it's a little bit easier to hang it on my pipe and drape, which I'll show you next. But I didn't mention before, UBACKDROP has given me a discount code. If you're interested in purchasing your own shimmer wall backdrop, you can go to their website. I've linked it down below in the description box and use the code Elisabeth10, and that'll get you 10% off your purchase, which is a really great deal. And they already have really good prices for their shimmer walls, like better than other places I found. So if you're in the market, now you know where to get a shimmer wall. Okay, I'm gonna go put this up on my pipe and drape, get that all put together, and then we can get started on the balloons, which are the best part, I think, right? Okay, so I finally got my backdrop the way that I wanted it. I added this Let's Party neon sign, and then I also added this little floral piece that I made. I actually made that last night. So look at how pretty it is, if you can see it. Isn't that nice? So that's a very festive little backdrop we got going on there. So I am going to get started on prepping all of the balloons. Most of them are already prepped, but there's one color in particular, one custom color that I'm gonna be using, and all I have so far prepped are the 16-inch balloons of that color. So I need to do all of the 11-inch balloons. So I will walk you through how I do that, and then we will start inflating everything. Okay, so the way that you make a custom color is by stuffing one balloon inside of another balloon. So I have Tough Tex Black here, and I'm gonna be putting that inside Qualitex Blush, and that's gonna give us a really pretty nude color. If you're new here, I have a custom color recipe book that it's a subscription, and it's $9.99 a month, and you get access to, right now we have over 170 different custom color recipes in there. So if you have ever been curious about how to make specific custom colors or whatever the case may be, like if you've ever wondered how to make them, it's probably in the recipe book. So if you're interested in learning how to make other custom colors, I highly recommend it. I will link it in the description box below. Like I said, it's $9.99 a month. You get access to our full library of custom color recipes, and then you also get access to, we drop new custom color recipes every single month, so you get access to all of those as well. So I just take a straw, put the black balloon on the straw, hold it kind of taut, and then I'm just going to slide the blush balloon right on top. And that's what it ends up looking like. And you take that off, and that's a nice custom color balloon for you. So I'm gonna count these out so that I make sure that I have the right amount of them, and then we'll zoom right through it, I guess. Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. Okay, so all of my balloons are prepped. We are gonna be doing a 3-color palette. So the first color is that custom color I just showed you. This is called Toasted Almond in the recipe book. So really pretty nude color. And then the other custom color that we're gonna be using is this one, which is called Gardenia in the recipe book. So like I said, if you're interested in custom colors, the recipe book is your best friend. And then the last color that we're gonna be using is Calisan Mirror White Gold. So because this is already like so much yellow gold, I wanted to tone it down a little bit, but still keep something really like bright and festive. So we're going with the white gold because I feel like it pairs really well with super gold, silver, like it pairs well with everything. So, these are all the balloons that I'm going to inflate. I have 2 different inflators that I'm using today. The first one is just this cheapy one from Amazon. I'm sure if you've been on Amazon looking for an inflator, this is the one that you see. It's my tried and true. I don't have any like fancy inflator. I have found that this guy can do exactly what I need it to do. I love it. So this is what I use for all of my balloons here, including my custom color balloons, except for my 5-inch custom color balloons. So anytime you're working with double stuffed 5-inch balloons, they won't inflate on an inflator like this. And they actually really won't inflate on most inflators, even if you have a really expensive one. So this inflator is the second inflator that I'm gonna be using today. This is also from Amazon. It's 20 bucks. If you are into blowing up balloons and you do it often, this is going to save your life. Like, it's amazing. I have 2 of them, and I use them 2 at a time so that I can inflate my double stuffed 5-inch balloons 2 at a time, just like I do my bigger balloons. You don't have to do anything to the 5-inch balloons. You don't have to pinch the top of it or stretch it or do anything. You put it on these bad boys, they inflate. It is like life altering. It's amazing. I will link these down below as well. And they're also really inexpensive. So it's like such a no-brainer if you're going to be inflating balloons all the time. So I am going to get started with my 11 and 16-inch balloons and just kind of walk you through how I go about inflating them the right way. So actually, let me put you down this way. So I'm going to show you the best way to inflate your balloons. So these are 2 11-inch balloons. I'm going to pop both of these onto the inflator. So this is basically what an 11-inch balloon looks like when it's fully inflated. So it's got that super eggy shape, very like traditional looking balloon. When we're working with organic balloon designs, that is not the shape we want. We really want our balloons to look like they are like perfect circles. So you just press down, put some pressure on them, press them on the ground, release some of the air. And then you've got balloons that look much more cylindrical and a lot prettier. So once I have gotten them to where I want them to be, I'm going to tie the necks together. So I stretch them both across from each other, loop it once, loop it twice, and then tie in a knot. And I use the neck tying method for all of my balloon designs. So I like to keep a lot of neck here, a lot of stretch, because I'm gonna need that when I am tying my clusters together when we're putting the finished result all together. So if you wanna, practice the neck tying method, or if that's the method that you use, the best thing you can do for yourself is when you are tying your 2 balloons together, you are leaving a ton of neck for yourself so that you have lots of stretch to be able to tie those necks together.
We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times, we'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows in the rain.
Okay, so I just finished inflating all of my big balloons and I'm getting ready to inflate my 5-inch double stuffed balloons, but I wanted to show you how I use these guys so you can see how easy it is to inflate 5-inch double stuffed balloons with these. It's like, I know I keep saying it, it is life altering. It's great. Okay, so the difference with these inflators from the other inflator is that these you just flip a switch and they stay on continuously, but I'll show you what that looks like. So just flip them both on and that is it. Look at that. So easy. So they do inflate at like slightly different speeds. Oh, I'm losing you. So you'll just have to like be wary of that. Sometimes you'll get 2 that are exactly the same and other times you'll get ones that are like slightly off. But it would have taken me probably 3 times as long, maybe 4 times as long to inflate these 2 balloons and tie them together if I was doing it by hand as with these, and they are not super expensive. You don't have to spend $700 on an inflator just to inflate your 5-inch double stuffed balloons. So 20 bucks, Amazon, every single time. Okay, so now that I am done inflating all my balloons, I did 5-inch, 11-inch, 16-inch, 18-inch. I'm gonna start putting them into clusters, and then once they're in the clusters, we're gonna go into tying those clusters together. So first thing that I forgot to mention, so I typically use at least 3 different sizes of balloons in all of my organic designs. So I'm at least using 5-inch, 11-inch, and 16 or 17-inch. In this one, I also have 18-inch balloons, so it's just a little bit different, but typically I'm using at least 3, if not 4 sizes, just depending on what the size of the setup is. So I like to do 6 balloons per cluster, and I like there to be a mix of 11-inch and 16, 17, 18-inch. So I'm gonna do those together, and then I'm gonna grab one of my big guys and twist that in here. So that is what a cluster of balloons ends up looking like. So I'm gonna do that again up close so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna take my 2 duplets here. I'm going to kind of crisscross them in the middle to look like a T or an X. And then I'm gonna take one balloon from one duplet and twist it around a balloon from the other duplet. Twist once, twist twice. And then you've got something like that. And then I'll get another duplet, like this big one, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing. So I just put it in the middle of 2 balloons, twist once, twist twice, and then I have a cluster. So I am gonna do that to all of my balloons. Now, for this color, I only had 11-inch balloons, which is totally fine. So I'm just gonna be doing clusters of 6 11-inch balloons for these. I'm gonna keep all of the 5-inch balloons separate, so I do not put those in my normal clusters. We're gonna be doing clusters of just 5-inch balloons next. So for these ones, we're only using those bigger balloons.
It will always be Christmas in my heart, but this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand.
Okay, so now that we have everything clustered, the way that I like to do my setups is I tie 2 clusters of the same color together, and it just helps with a little bit more of a color blocking technique than just like a bunch of different colors scattered everywhere. So grab another one. So all I do is I tie the necks together. So I just go put my hand into the middle of a cluster, find the longest, stretchiest neck that I can, do that with the same thing with the other cluster, and then I just kind of pull them together. I'm not gonna be able to see this very well, but I pull them together and then just tie the necks into a knot. So that is the end result. That's what it looks like on the inside. And then this is what those 2 clusters together is gonna look like. So I'm gonna do that with all the rest of these big balloons.
Making angels in the sand, you ready? Doesn't matter,
If you're finding it really challenging to tie your clusters together, don't worry, that's normal. Tying the necks is probably the most challenging method for creating balloon designs. It just ends up with the best end result because you have a lot fewer gaps than you do with any other type of technique. So don't be worried if it's really hard at first. Just keep practicing. It does get a lot easier. I know that I probably make it look really easy. That's because I have been doing this almost every single day for 2 years. So you'll get there. Just keep practicing, and I promise it gets easier. And the biggest thing that you can do for yourself is make sure that you give yourself a lot of neck to work with when you're first inflating your balloons. That's gonna be the biggest thing.
Christmas in my heart. Here we go.
Okay, so all of the big balloons are clustered, and I'm gonna do my 5-inch balloons the exact same way. So I put them, again, twist once, twist twice, into a cluster of 6 balloons. And I'm just going to keep on doing that. And then once I have these balloons in clusters of 6, what I'm gonna do is start tying them together to make really long little mini garlands of 5-inch balloons, just like I did with the big clusters. So you'll be able to make really long, just beautiful 5-inch clusters, and they give so much texture and definition and dimension to your finished product. So it's my favorite thing to do is use these 5-inch balloons and make really pretty, very long little mini garlands. So you have something like that. So pretty.
All right, now this Christmas, We're gonna dance. We're gonna dance, 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 dance.
Okay, so now that we finally have everything prepped and ready to go, it is time to start building our base around the background. So for this part, you're only gonna need these 260 balloons. So if you're not familiar with these are the long, skinny balloons that people use to make the animals. We're gonna be using these to attach our balloon clusters to the back. Okay, so anytime I am first getting started with my setup, the very first piece that I'm going to lay down is the piece that goes on the very bottom of one side of the cloud. Now, always for this bottom piece, I like to place it horizontally instead of vertically. So I'll show you what I mean by that. If you see down here at the bottom, that cluster is laying flat horizontally on the floor. The next piece that we're going to add to the top of it will end up going vertically, but when you have these pieces on the bottom that are sitting horizontal, it just helps at the end to give you a really nice, smooth finish to both sides of your setup. So I am going to attach this here. I'm just going to set it, see where I want it to go. And then attaching it to the backdrop is as simple as taking this 260 balloon. I'm going to loop it just like this around the bottom here, and I'm just going to tie the two ends of it together into a knot. So now basically I've got a big hair tie or a big rubber band. So for this, all I have to do then is just push this around a balloon. So I'll put this here. And I just wrap this around any of the balloons. And that's going to keep that exactly in place in the spot where I want it to be. So it's not going anywhere. So now that we've got this base piece down, I'm going to start building the rest of our design.
For each piece that I'm adding to the garland, I am using that same method that I used for tying the clusters together, but I'm just tying these two sections together with the necks. So I'll take the stretchiest neck from that bottom piece and find another stretchy neck from the next mini garland or little cluster and tie those together to create that base. And every once in a while I'm using another 260 balloon to attach those balloons to the backdrop itself, so that way it stays nice and secured and anchored exactly where I want it to be. You can also get creative and use some of your 5-inch big clusters and attach them directly into this base. You don't have to stick with just your bigger clusters of balloons. So all I'm doing here is, again, working on the base. This is going to work as the backbone to our full design and start giving us the shape that we're looking for all the way around this backdrop.
What I'm going to be doing from here is adding a lot of my clusters to the back. So really adding them in from behind. So that way you're just getting a little bit of a peek of some of those other colors coming through. And that's really what's going to give you that really gorgeous dimension and really professional end result. So I'm going to start adding some more clusters in and making sure that our bases are both fully covered here for the pipe and drape, because that's the worst thing, making those bases stick out like sore thumbs. So I am going to get to work on that.
So as you are adding to your base and you're starting to fill it out, anytime you're adding new clusters, you always need to make sure that you are securing both ends of that cluster. So you'll see me here as I'm tying in a new cluster, I tie it once to the front of that cluster and then once again to the back of the cluster. And that's really going to ensure that everything stays in place where it's supposed to be. If you're only securing one side of your cluster, then the rest of those balloons can just be kind of flailing all over the place. If this were an outdoor setup, it would be gone in the wind. So it's just really important that you are securing both the top end and bottom end, or front and back end, whichever way that you are looking at the balloons.
Okay, so I am pretty happy with this overall look. So the last, well, actually that's not true. The second to last thing that we're gonna do is start adding in all of our 5-inch balloons. So the 5-inch balloons are really there to add those final details and just really give this a truly organic look. I did add some of my really long 5-inch clusters up to the top in the actual frame of the design, but the rest of them I'm going to incorporate into the front of the design. So let's get to it.
So same thing here, when you are adding in your 5-inch clusters, you're gonna wanna make sure that you are attaching both ends of the clusters into your design. So that way you're not getting a piece of your 5-inch clusters sticking out to one side. You always want to make sure that they are going to stay put, and you do that by making sure that you are securing both ends all the time. Now, another great trick that I like to use for putting in my 5-inch balloons is to focus not just on putting them on the front of the setup, but also tucking them into little corners or into the back kind of my setup, so they're just peeking out. That's going to give you just as much dimension as it does by putting them right smack dab in the front, and it also allows them to feel like they're a little bit more incorporated into the full design, as opposed to you just slapping them on the front of your design and calling it a day.
Okay, so the last little bit that we're going to do is add in our floral and greenery, and that is really going to bring this all together. It's going to be so stunning. So I've got a few different things for us to add. I've got these really fun branches to add in there, nice and dangly. Some of this really cute holly. And then I also got some garland that I cut just into little tiny pieces. So we can use this as just kind of little pops of green and put them in lots of different ways. So I'm gonna get to work on that and give this the final touch.
Another really great tip when you are using florals or greenery in your design is typically when you're using faux florals or really even fresh florals, you usually can just kind of push them into your balloons and they're going to stick and they're going to be totally fine. But if you have any florals or greenery that have extra sharp edges, or they just don't seem to be sticking into your balloon designs, what you can do is take a 260 balloon and literally put the stem of the greenery or the floral into the 260 balloon, and that allows it to not be so pokey, so it's not going to pop any of your balloons. And you can also use that 260 balloon if you really need to wrap around one of the balloons to keep that floral or greenery nice and secure.
And this is the finished product. So much fun. Oh, I just love, love, love the glitter that the shimmer wall backdrop brings to this, and it's so festive, such a fun photo backdrop for parties or just a small get-together Christmas day. I cannot wait to keep this up and show my kiddos when they get home from school. They're gonna be so excited. Okay, so that is it for the video today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please give it a thumbs up if you did like it, and please leave me a comment below with all of the questions that you have for how to create beautiful balloon setups. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.